Hello and welcome back to The Drag Detective, where today we are going to talk about UK4 a little bit more. We are going to, of course, go through the season, how it would have gone if it wasn't rigged. You guys know the gist at this point. So why don't we just get into episode 1.
Oh, don't even start.
What?
You know what, Drag Detective? I am sick and tired of your shit.
Matthew Belak from TikTok, what the fuck are you doing in my living room?
I'm here to show you what's up with this UK4, how it should have went.
Okay, you think you can do better than me and my opinions.
Just a little bit.
I beg to differ.
Oh, I don't think.
Okay, you think you can do the whole TikTok thing, but can you do the YouTube?
You know what? I'm gonna start today.
Okay, if you think that you can beat me when it comes to what is the real tea, why don't we have a little compare and contrast, a little healthy debate on how UK4 should have gone?
Oh, you mean the debate on the right side and the wrong side?
I think you got your left and your right mixed up, because it's actually the other way around.
I am Matthew, also known as Belak Boy on TikTok, where I make a lot of content concerning RuPaul's Drag Race and every other franchise in the RuPaul cinematic universe.
The multiverse of madness. You've definitely seen him smolder on your For You page.
Yeah. Never, no.
So we are just going to, I guess, run through the episodes, compare and contrast, have some nice debates. Let's look at episode 1. Who did you think should have been the top 3 for the runway challenge?
So the top 3, I definitely agreed with a Black Peppa win, and then I also would have thrown up Sminty, like in the original episode, and then I would have added LaPhil.
LaPhil, okay, so LaPhil had like the Pugsy the bear?
Yeah, the bear look with
Pudgy
the polka
the bear?
dots. I think it's Pudgy the bear.
Okay, Pudgy the bear, and then they had that like superhero red look.
Yes.
Okay.
I think they had a very interesting way of modeling that red superhero look on the runway, but I still think the look itself was solid enough that they earned themselves a spot in the top.
Okay.
But
I had the original top 3, which was Black Peppa, Sminty, and Starlet. Now, Starlet, the first look that she did, was it Joanna Lumley?
yeah.
That look was super fun. That was like, she said she's a little bit goofy, and that was the goofy.
Agreed.
So I thought that was a nice contrast to the second look, which was just very like what we've come to know Starlet for,
Yeah.
like fairy tale princess bitch.
I definitely agree, because when Starlet walked into that workroom, I thought, okay, I know exactly who this archetype of a queen is, and so when she walked out in that Joanne Lumley look, I said, okay, I see you have an eye for more styles than you originally let off.
She was fully in character, which I appreciated. So I think that the top 3 was correct.
Yes.
I think that there's plenty of other queens that could have been up there, like LaPhil did really great.
Yeah, and I would agree, like, with Starlet being up there too. I just thought LaPhil was more my taste for a runway challenge.
I think this is where we're going to differ.
Oh.
Who did you have in your bottom 3?
So, my bottom 3, so I agreed with Copper being low, and then, well,
Cut the cameras.
So I agreed with Copper being low, and I agreed with Just May lip syncing, but instead of Dakota, I had Pixie Polite.
You're the bitch on Twitter that I wasn't mad at when this came out.
Never.
Yes.
No, let me preface this by saying I do think Pixie is a wonderful queen. Those 2 looks that she presented...
This bitch was at my kitchen table, like, can I put Pixie in the bottom? Can I put Pixie in the bottom? Can I put Pixie in the
I think she's a wonderful queen. Those first 2 runways that she presented, though, were not very my taste.
Okay.
And I thought, especially when you're walking on the same runway as Black Peppa's looks, Sminty's looks, you know, I thought that bottom 2 placement would have been deserved.
Okay. Disagree. Disagree. So who did you have as low?
Copper.
Okay, so as Copper's defense attorney, I definitely I see why. I see why. But for me, I think that her first look with like the soup on the boobs was
very
just
funny.
like full camp. She performed it super well. I did have issues with her second look. I think that it was not a nude illusion like she intended it to.
Yeah.
But I think that the message was there, and in the runway that's who are you?
Right.
She showed us exactly who she was.
Yeah.
Who I put instead was Jonbers.
Okay, yeah. Jonbers' second look was very not responsive to the question, Ru, are you? But that first look that she presented, the BBC runway, the blue with the ship, I thought that was wonderful.
Yes.
And I thought that was enough to save her from a bottom.
I didn't put her in the bottom 2. I think that the second look just does not make sense for the runway.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this first episode, you really want to show who you are. Like, that's the whole point, is like, what is your drag? Show us. I don't think she did that. And I think that that's what Pixie kind of points out later in the season, is like, you don't have a specific drag aesthetic. And then I think in an episode like this, it kind of like showed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I had Jombers low. And then who was your bottom two?
You said
Pixie
and May.
And
I think just
May. Okay. Yeah. Sell me why Pixie deserves to be in the bottom.
Oh, God. I wasn't supposed to think. I didn't think this in my head. Don't ask me.
He said a debate means I have to explain my show my work.
Answers. So definitely that rainbow look that she had brought out on the second runway. If you had told me that that was a look that she made in the workroom, I would have believed you.
Well, and the way that I look at it is, I don't mind drag that looks like it's not coming straight off of like a Versace runway, as long as there's a good message behind it and it's at least like well enough done.
Yeah.
And to me, I think like it definitely looked crafty, but I think that it did show who Pixie was. I like that it had the stunt of her like this like positive energy, and it did have like the stunt of her like pulling up the rainbow. So I think that there was enough there for me that I liked it more than I disliked it. And then her first look, I loved.
That first look was really good.
With the trench coat and like dragging up this like very like mass character.
Yeah.
So for me, I think Pixie might have been like at the bottom half of the girls, but I still think she was safe.
Okay. And of course, you know, neither one of us are drag queens. I've never done drag. I assume you've never done drag. Well, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Bootsy would love to show the photo that she got me to send her. I did milk for Halloween once.
Did you really? What milk did you do?
I did a look that she did on her Instagram where it was like a muscle, like muscle of your body, not like muscle, with like lingerie on top.
Oh, slay!
And I got ready when I was drunk, so the makeup did not turn out well. And no, I will not be putting the picture in here. But if you message Bootsy on Twitter, she will probably send it to you.
And I will retweet it. I'm very moved by the art and the talent of a lot of these queens. It's just fun to talk about the show. And,
exactly. Yeah. And, like, if you're putting yourself on a competition reality show, you are opening yourself up to be judged. And what do gays love doing?
Judging.
So, here we are. We both agreed, when we chatted a little bit beforehand, May's second look, the Who or Ru, I think it was
perfectly fine.
I thought it was super fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think she looked really good. The first look was just...
I will say, I think that first look was the worst look of the entire episode.
See, if you look at it from, like, here up, it's fine. It's cool. Sort of. But it's just the weird draping
it was
shape.
Yeah, I loved the idea. I thought it would have been a wonderful idea, but I thought that, I'm going to sound like Michelle Visage, I thought the execution of it was kind of faulty.
I agreed with Dakota's bottom two placement, and this is where I'm like, Bootsy, I need you here. Because me and Bootsy were fighting in the trenches, telling people Dakota deserved that bottom two. Why do you think she didn't deserve bottom two? You don't even have her low.
No, but like how you were saying earlier, like there was like kind of the lower half of the safe. I would say I would put Dakota in the lower half of the safe.
Okay.
I do agree with what you were saying earlier, how Dakota didn't necessarily answer, like, give us a look that said, what is your style? Who are you? But I thought it was still two very solid looks. Her first and second looks were very solid, very strong. Strong. They were very solid runways. I would have felt wrong putting her in the bottom for those two looks. Like,
we have the same bottom four.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. If there was a bottom four, I would put her as low as well. But if I had to choose the three, I wouldn't put Dakota there.
I don't think lingerie is enough. I called it a nun, and people in the comments were like, she wasn't playing a nun. I'm not British. I don't get the reference. But I think that it was a cool concept. But I think if you're going to do just like a habit kind of look, you need to have a reveal. Because I think if she just had a reveal for that first look, it would have been enough for me.
Do you think if she had like a long skirt that just revealed into like the sexy lingerie?
Yeah, or something like that. I don't know. But and then the second look for me, I don't think it told us who she was. I don't think it was necessarily like elevated enough. And looking at someone like Pixie, who had a full concept head to toe with a trick, with it telling us exactly who she is, this like, you know, Pixie polite. I think if you compare the two, not my cat. Shitting while we're... So regardless of who, whether it's Pixie and May or Dakota and May is
Just
going
May's
home.
going home,
Which is sad, because I really liked May.
Yeah. And I was excited to see her Snatch game because she was talking how she was the world premiere Jerry Halliwell impersonator. So I was excited to see what she could bring for Snatch game, but I think that elimination was fair.
So, episode 2, we have the girl groups. They do the Come Alive song. And, like, if this is, like, how UK4 should have gone, I said they should do 3 groups. Because I think that having, like, 6 queens doing one number, it was just so hard to, like, even see what was happening. Mm-hmm. And even to, like, pick out, like, a standout, because there was just so many people on that stage.
Yeah.
So, based on the order that Peppa and Dakota chose people, the last 3 remaining would then just be their own group. And it would kind of open up a storyline like, oh, you guys are the underdogs because you guys didn't even get picked. So the groups were Peppa, Baby, Sminty, and Jombers. And then Dakota, Danny, LaFille, and Cheddar, with Starlet, Copper, and Pixie being the 3rd group. Do you think it should have been judged individually since there were so many people on a team?
I do. You know, I get since UK won, it's been a tradition to award the groups the win as groups, but I think that's kind of run its course, and especially when we get to UK4 when they decided to have a girl group challenge
900
literally.
We both, I think, judged individually.
Yes.
Who did you have as your top 3?
Baby, Dakota, and LaFille. And I based this on both how the verses sounded to me and then obviously the performance itself. Those are my top 3.
I had Baby, Danny, and LaFille. So we were pretty close on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Danny, I just think, had a really fun look that stood out in the performance. And because she sang, it kind of just added, like, it made her stand out a little bit more when everyone else is, like, pretty much rapping the whole thing. But I also think Dakota did really well.
Yes.
And it was a very, like, you know, episode 1 was a little rough. So for episode 2, for her to, like, really...
A big turnaround.
Yes, it was, like, really satisfying. So, and plus for storyline, having her be in the top would have been...
Absolutely.
But
Baby was
won.
the moment.
Baby won. Baby won.
That was hers to win.
It was her verse, her look, her moves, her runway, like
not runway. Oh god,
everything was super good.
Absolutely agree.
And then LaFille,
ate
up that entire verse. Was doing so many fun tricks, but it wasn't super distracting like Black Peppa's was, where like you didn't even get to see Black Peppa's face because she's just like doing one move and running into another. Like LaFille was giving face, also giving choreo and like stunts.
And I just enjoyed LaFille's verse. They obviously have that eye for lyricism, because the minute they said LaPhilosophical, I said, I'm there. I said, that's my winner right there. Absolutely.
What about your bottom 3?
Oh, my bottom 3 was exactly the same as what happened in the episode. Sminty as low, and then I put John Burrs and Starlet lip syncing. And then Starlet
goes home.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a little bit goofy. We just needed a lot of bit goofy. So.
Vintage collection.
My favorite thing is when they're like doing the background, like they're chatting, and like Starlet's like, I thought I did a good job. And Baby doesn't say anything, and Starlet's like,
you know, I had a lot of fun out there.
I was like, ugh. And
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did, Starlet. I really am.
So there really wasn't a ton of like riggery this episode. It's just I wish it was judged individually.
Agreed. Yeah.
So now we have the design challenge. And I already know this is going to go off the rails. So I judged it in teams fully.
Yes, agreed. I did the same.
Okay, so now I'm even more confused. So who did you give the win to?
So I give the win to Dakota and Baby.
And then the top?
Was LaFille and Sminty.
Okay, agreed there. What about low?
So my low was Peppa and John Burrs.
Okay. And then your bottom 2?
Pixie and Danny. Pixie and Danny.
Okay, hard disagree there. I put Danny and Pixie as low.
Okay.
And then Jombers and Peppa in the bottom 2.
I can see where Danny and Pixie did not deserve to lip sync, because compared to Peppa and Jombers, you know, Peppa's look was falling apart.
Jombers was just a piece of fabric.
But, I mean, wasn't Pixie and Danny's just a piece of fabric?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But that was very, I don't want to say basic, but it felt uninspired.
Well, and I think that when you say, like, 2 looks from the same collection, that doesn't mean recreate the same look.
Right.
So I didn't put them in the bottom 2 because I do think even if it was basic and very just the same dress, that they were at least well made.
Yeah.
Head to toe, it was a look, even if I was bored. And then for me, like, Cheddar and Copper, I kept safe because if we're judging in teams, I think Cheddar did an amazing job. And
dare I say, Copper didn't even do that bad.
I don't think it was that bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were definitely issues.
Yeah.
The cut of the bodysuit, like maybe the boot didn't work super well, but it wasn't terrible.
Right.
So
absolutely agree. But yeah, so my thing is just like the reason I'm putting Pixie and Danny in the bottom is because I'm biased, of course. I have an ear for the producers. Like, who am I sending home? No, but I at least felt the inspiration behind Peppa and John Burs's looks.
You would really say bottom 2, bitch.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, so the lip sync song is. I don't remember. So we have a different bottom 2, both of us, from the actual episode. Who do you think would go home in that?
So I think Pixie would probably lose a lip sync to Danny. That's what I think if I had to look at that. I don't remember.
So Pixie goes home 3rd.
Yes, for me, Pixie's not there for the remainder of the season.
Okay,
yeah.
For me, I think John Burs goes home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we're going into episode 4 with a very different.
Because you have no John Burs and I
John
have
Burs
no
is
Pixie.
gone, and they both made it to the end.
Yeah.
So this is about to get wild. Up next, we have the Catty Man Improv Challenge. Obviously, like, the teams might be a little bit different since we have different people, but we could just, like, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Who do you think was your tops for this episode?
So we have to keep in mind that in this scenario, Copper Top is still here.
For both of us.
I still have Danny as winning. I think Danny had the best performance.
Yes.
But I put Copper Top, and then since Pixie's no longer here, I have Dakota Schiffer in the top 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have Danny winning with Copper and Pixie in the top.
Okay.
So, and I was very close to giving Pixie the win.
Really?
I think it was very close between Pixie and Danny. And then I preferred Pixie's runway here, but I think when you think back on it, you just remember Danny's character more than Pixie's. So
when Alan Carr said, "You think you're funny with those teeth," and then Danny just
throws them out.
did.
So so Dakota in the top for you.
Yeah.
Sell me on it.
So, okay, I thought that this improv challenge wasn't the best overall. Obviously, Danny and Pixie I thought did well, but in the scenario, Pixie is no longer here for me. And Copper Top is a very funny queen outside of the show. Dakota, I thought, of the remainder of who is left in that challenge, Dakota, I think, was witty. I think she had a couple of good ideas, and I thought that earned her a spot in the top. Okay. The voice changes, I thought was very funny and clever for her. Maybe I do have a basic sense of what humor is, but I thought it was very good. I really enjoyed Dakota in this challenge. Call me biased, but I don't care.
I really like Dakota too. Mm-hmm. To me, I feel like they were cutting around her breaking a lot. I feel like she was breaking and like laughing, which was fine a couple times, but to me it felt like they were cutting whenever she was going to do it again to kind of give her like a better edit, but obviously I wasn't there. Right. That's just what I deduced from my as an editor.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I noticed when they cut things and I'm like, that was a little weird, but I do think Dakota did well. Yes. I just think in my scenario Pixie's there.
Yes.
And with Copper, I fully believe they got rid of Copper at the 3rd episode because she would have demolished these comedy challenges because they were all in a row.
Yep. Before doing this video, I was like, no way Copper makes it that far. But then I was kind of doing the scenario. I was like, Copper would do really well.
I texted him my thing, and he roasted me. He was
I said Copper Top.
And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, but then after revisiting her Meet the Queens and a couple of her videos, she is very funny and witty. So I think she probably would do well in a lot of these improv challenges.
And then for me, the bottom 3 does not change. LaPhil low with Baby.
LaPhil? Oh, philosophical.
LaPhil is low with Baby and Sminty in the bottom, and then Sminty goes home.
Yeah, same for me.
I see your handwriting.
Yeah.
I like judging people's handwriting. You have good handwriting.
Thank you very much.
So...
but yes, I also put LaPhil as low, and then Sminty, Baby, lip-syncing, and Baby... Hello.
Okay,
so Sminty getting eliminated,
unfortunately, but having an amazing exit. So
yes.
and
the best runway of the week.
She'll be on a Versus the World or an All Stars or something.
Oh, absolutely.
She's just the one.
Absolutely.
So episode 5, we have LAIRY Poppins, the Rusical, and I think we both had this as like a kind of like the Daytona Wind top 2.
Yeah,
and just judging the people who did the best.
It felt so wrong that there was a bottom at all that episode. Everyone did insanely well.
Yes. And if there was a bottom, I still stand by Cheddar should have been in it as the least best.
not gonna say anything about. I'm not gonna say anything about that.
But
this is a positive episode. Everyone did well.
Exactly. Who did you have in your top?
My highs were Jonbers, LaPhil.
Oh, you have Jonbers there still. Okay.
Yes, I still have Jonbers. So Jonbers, LaPhil, because Jonbers did eat up. LaPhil, Copper Topp, and Baby I put in the top because I know Baby did lip sync, but I thought Baby did really well.
Baby did so well.
Yeah.
I almost made my top 2, Baby and LaPhil.
Rip top 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
I really like Danny, but for me, like Danny's runway. Like, so I think the 3 of them were my top 3: Baby, LaPhil, and Danny. But my top 2 were Danny and LaPhil.
And my top 2 was Danny Beard and Jonbers Blonde.
Okay.
Because I thought Jonbers did really well this entire musical, and then, but on top of that, I have to think now, considering the lip sync, would Danny beat Jonbers in that lip sync? And I don't think so. So
in that look.
Oh, in that look as well. I didn't even think about that. Had to lip sync in that look.
Well, I guess they probably would have let them change.
I'm sure.
Because they let them change. No, they didn't let them change in Daytona Wind.
Yeah.
I don't know what would have happened there.
I don't know, but I think that Jonbers would probably beat Danny in that specific song for that lip sync. So Jonbers is getting her badge.
So Jonbers wins a challenge.
Jonbers wins a challenge.
Okay, this is how you know this is the real Multiverse of Madness. See, yeah, if Jonbers was still in mine, I would have given her top 2 with Danny. But since she's not, I have in my highs, I have Baby, Pixie, and Peppa.
Of course.
I was between Peppa and Copper, and I don't know how Copper would have done, but I think Peppa did a good job and had a good runway, and it would have been a nice little like moment for her to like be back in the top,
right?
Because she is never in the top again. And then my top 2, I had LaPhil and Danny.
LaPhil was insanely good.
LaPhil was so good. I think that they gaslit the fuck out of them because their performance crescendos, and you have to start small to then get, big.
And in the critiques, they were like, you're in the bottom because everyone else just did better than you.
I think
you did great, but
I think you did a good job.
Yeah.
And that runway was one of the best runways of the entire season.
Oh my god.
So
if Danny did not walk out in that, I don't remember the name of the plant, in that look, I'd say LaPhil's probably like the best look of the entire season. That King and I, insanely good.
So good. And it would have been really nice to see LaPhil have that moment in a top 2 with Danny just for their like overall storyline, because I mean, spoiler alert, they go home on Snatch Game regardless, but to have like that moment in the top to be like, yes, you ate, you slayed, good job. I just think they never got that on the actual season, and it would have been nice to see.
Absolutely.
So we don't have any bottoms because it's just you're safe.
I still think that Baby would still quit.
Yes. And then we move on to Snatch Game.
Snatch Game. Yes.
And I really was considering giving Copper the win.
Okay.
I didn't, because Cheddar, even if it wasn't my humor, I didn't personally laugh at Cheddar. It was Rue's humor, and that's what really matters.
True.
So I think that Cheddar would have won regardless, but I think Copper would have a really good Snatch Game.
Yeah.
Do you disagree? I'm like scared.
I did not see who Copper would have done, but I put my tops Cheddar, of course, as winning. And then Dakota and Jonbers I put as highs.
Because you still have Jonbers, yes.
But then I said put Copper Top as low. Because I love when Drag Race says, oh, Comedy Queen is in the bottom for Snatch Game. Like they did to Lawrence. I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
But you didn't fully commit to bottom 2.
I did not commit to the bottom 2. I still think Peppa and Phil.
The bottom 2 were just so clear.
Insanely bad.
So clear.
Yeah.
Peppa, I'm so mad because I think that's such a good choice for Snatch Game, doing Lil Nas, and it just...
Well, Rue has never heard him speak, so who knows?
It didn't work.
For Snatch Game, with that lip sync, LaPhil lost it, I think, unfortunately.
I don't think either of them did a good job.
I'm sorry? Hello?
I don't think either of them did a good job.
Agreed.
LaPhil was doing all kinds of stuff. I don't know what he was doing. There was things coming out of his shoe. There was things coming out. But the edit, I don't think helped. Because whenever there's a stunt and they don't do like the sound effect, the little like cymbal noise, that's how you know it's like, oh, this is not.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the minute, obviously, one of the cardinal sins of Drag Race is removing your shoes. And of course, but like LaPhil being in those shoes, what were they going to do?
They should have changed their shoes beforehand.
Yeah, agreed. But I think Peppa, if I had to choose between the two, I would say Peppa.
I would still give it to Peppa.
Yeah.
But it's sad because I love LaPhil. I hope they come back.
Like, as in, like, my winner from day one. Like, obviously, my biases, I put them in the top every single week up until now.
It's valid.
Except for the Catty Man, but I put them in the top 3 weeks in a row, and I said they deserve it.
Yeah, but I put Dakota and Copper as the two highs. I actually preferred Dakota's like fully. I was really laughing at Dakota's, and like Cheddar, I was like, I don't think we saw enough of Dakota for me to be like win. So
right, absolutely.
So for my bottoms, I put, and I still have Pixie here. I put Danny as low over Pixie.
Okay.
I broke it down, and Pixie got 4 laughs, and Danny only got 2.
Now you're turning into.
We're cutting that.
You said I'm going to count to the
We're
positive.
bleeping that. But and it's, honestly, I think that it's very like they were pretty even. I don't think either of them were great. I just think Pixie at least knew what she was doing. I don't think Danny knew what he was just screaming. I couldn't understand a word he was saying, like the accent and the teeth, and it wasn't the character that she wanted to do regardless. So I think that she was kind of like on the fly, like trying to come up with stuff, and I think it showed. But I mean, either of them could have been low, and I would have been like, yeah. But Peppa and LaPhil was for sure, the bottom two, and then LaPhil goes home.
Unfortunately.
So we're at the makeover. This is where things get very interesting.
Oh.
Because for me, I put Cheddar as the winner. Yep. And then Danny and Dakota were my tops. I think that all 3 of them showed exactly their drag style, their drag character, what they do for their drag in a really good way, and they managed to make it translate to someone with a much different body type than them. Mm-hmm. Like Dakota is like a very tall, thin, and her makeover partner was short and a little bit bigger. So Dakota put her in a dress that made her look absolutely stunning, which is sometimes harder. You know what I mean? If you're used to styling a certain body type, getting another body type and having to think about, okay, what's going to work for this doesn't always translate.
Absolutely. I completely agree with your top 3. That was my exact top 3 as well. Cheddar winning, Dakota, Danny as top. And obviously, we've always talked about how the makeover challenge is just kind of like the reset button for Drag Race. It's just
who do you want to go home?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's very interesting what you bring up about Dakota, because if we consider what you said earlier, and Dakota being critiqued for not having a own personal mark on style, I think this is the moment where she showcased that the best. Because I've always thought Dakota as like a very like soft doll, very type. That's the drag she's always presented. And I thought this was like kind of like marketed the best. And her partner was definitely fit that bill. So I thought Dakota definitely deserved it at the top. And her going home was just such an injustice. It was insane. Like, of course, the minute that RuPaul wasn't there, they said, let's send Dakota home.
Michelle said, you're done, bitch.
And then bottoms.
I have no one is low because I don't think anyone really deserved it. And in the actual episode, I don't think they had a low. I think it was just a bottom 2, and Peppa was safe. So for me, Copper's look is really good. I don't think it necessarily shows like her style, which is an issue, which is why I didn't put her in the top. But I think it's a really solid look. So I don't think that deserved to be low. So my bottom 2 are Pixie and Peppa, because those are the only 2 options left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a very rough time figuring out a bottom for this week. So looking at Copper's look, I did say probably low. I put her as low. Okay. And I'm not the type of person who like will put safe. There's like tops and bottoms. Okay. So I don't usually do that. I'm committed. But I did put Copper as low because I do think like, this isn't market your style. If you had blinked out the face, we'd say, who is this? Yeah. Very much that, which I think the makeover...
It was actually giving Cheddar.
Yeah, very much
very like alien.
Yeah. So, which I think the makeover should be the most important drag branding challenge there is. Like, okay, so you have to understand your style and put it on somebody else. And I don't think Copper did that. But I'd still put her as low, because I do think they're very good looks. And then I agreed with the judges about Peppa. From the neck down, kind of, there's nothing exciting to look at. So I put Peppa and Jonbers in the bottom. I think Jonbers herself looked great, but her partner, the makeup was
well, and
rough.
Yeah, we keep talking about like, it's about your aesthetic. Peppa's look did not read Peppa.
Really?
The makeup to me, like Peppa's never done any type of like crazy makeup like that.
I don't know, but Peppa's always okay on the show. I will say that she didn't showcase that before, but Peppa's always been kind of a club kid. Okay. So it wasn't necessarily removed from her style in that moment. But it's just like the actual outfit itself I didn't enjoy too much.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I haven't followed Peppa before the season, so I only was basing it off of like what were you showing? And it was giving me like high fashion, like femme. And this was giving me like alien. And I was like, that doesn't really give me what Peppa has like showed me as Peppa. This like place and time. So
Okay. Who's going home?
okay, so this is where, remember when I said like we're gonna be splitting off into like this is the true
Yeah.
like timeline is splitting. If it's Pixie and Peppa in the bottom two, part of me thinks Pixie wins.
Really?
Because it's a slower Culture Club song, and I think Pixie was able to get the emotion of the song down. And from what I saw with Peppa, I think she's really good at one type of lip sync, but when she had to kind of morph it to a different song, it didn't always fit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not confident that Peppa would do well to this song.
Right.
Whereas, like, I know from seeing the lip sync, Pixie did do well.
Okay. So Peppa's gone for you now?
I didn't make the decision. I wanted to hear what you thought.
Okay, so I had a rough time with this. So obviously I have Peppa and Jonbers in the bottom. I don't know, but I couldn't commit to a single answer, so I said double Shantae.
I think Peppa goes home.
Wow.
I don't know. Well, and
I see what you're saying, though.
seeing the future, Peppa's in the bottom every other week.
Right.
It's kind of like, I know Pixie's going to do well in the next episode, whereas like Peppa just bottoms until the end. So.
But in your universe, this is her third time lip syncing, right? Okay.
And this is Pixie's first.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair, yeah.
I think Peppa goes home, which is not what I wrote down. I committed to Pixie going home, but I'm kind of disagreeing now.
Are you?
Yeah. Okay, Peppa goes home.
Dang.
People are going to be like...
Dang.
But, like, legitimately, she doesn't have another good week.
Yeah. I'm not saying, like, I necessarily disagree. I think if she did go home, it would have been fair, her time.
Mm-hmm.
But in my universe, this is her second time lip syncing, so I think she's still very much valuable to the competition.
And Jonbers goes... Oh, no, you said double Shantae.
I think I'm committing to the double Shantae in the
I mean, they
makeover.
used one on those two regardless.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's just an episode prior.
That's why I was not hesitant to, like, keep them both.
Yeah. So, next up, we have the horrific, terrible acting challenge. And for me, the only person who I think did a solid job was Danny.
Danny Beard, yep.
But if Copper's there, I think Copper wins.
Wow.
I think this is Copper's moment, because even if Danny did well, it wasn't like a slam dunk win. I think this could be like her moment.
Okay.
To just like let it go, have some fun, and get a win.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm happy for you.
I'm glad you think that way. No, I'm committed to Danny as winning.
Okay.
I'm committed to Danny as winning. And then, so keep in mind, in this universe, Copper and Dakota are still here, and I put them both in the top. I did.
Okay.
Yeah, so I put Dakota and Copper as highs, and Danny winning.
Let me check my notes.
So I think Dakota, if she were given like a scripted acting challenge, I think she could pass it off. But I also, like, you know, this was a terrible acting challenge, like a terribly written acting challenge.
Well, and you also have to think about like who's going to have what role.
Exactly. So I don't know what role Dakota would have gotten. And plus, in this acting challenge for me, there's one extra person, so there's one extra role that needs to be filled. But I think Dakota would do well, you know?
In my head, I think Dakota takes Jonber's part.
Okay.
With the dog. I just see that for her. And I don't think that role was written well at all. So I feel like she's going to probably be in the bottom two. But I think I'm trying to figure out like who would take Peppa's role. Like the screaming one. I think Copper could take that and make it funny.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if Copper had the like... Who was it?
I don't remember. The Bear Grylls?
Yes. Yes. I think Copper could make that funny.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. I could see that for her. I did not take into any consideration like who got what part. I just kind of like said, okay, who's funny and who's good at acting. So, and then obviously like the people who were still there, I gave them their parts. So Danny, Cheddar, Pepper, and Jonber still have their same parts.
So for me, I think that you have Danny in the top playing the same role that she had. You have Copper winning with the Bear Grylls. You have Pixie in the top. Because I still have Pixie doing the Kim Woodburn. I think she did a good job. I think that they didn't want to put her on the top because they're like, it was too Kim. I'm like, that's literally the point. And then all that's left is Dakota and Cheddar. And Cheddar won, but I really don't think Cheddar did.
I put Cheddar as low.
I don't think she did bad. I just don't think she was funny.
Yeah. And plus that role, I hate the archetype of like, #selfie.
Literally.
I hate that archetype of character, especially in poorly written acting challenges.
It was the same as her improv character to me.
Okay.
The same kind of energy.
Yeah.
And I don't think she was super funny in the improv either. So I think we're going to have Cheddar and Dakota in the bottom doing the lip sync song, which was...
What was that song called?
I don't fucking remember, but it was a good song.
I don't remember what it was
I
called.
saved it on Spotify because I was like,
really?
this is good. Yeah. And what's funny is, like, I don't think Cheddar or Dakota necessarily, that's, like, their song to, like...
Are you about to say double sachet?
I'm going to say double Shantae.
Oh, okay.
I think that, like, we're getting to the end. We still need, like, 5 people, and they're both solid, so I'm going to say they just both stay.
How many wins does Dakota have so far for you? Just the one?
Just the one.
Okay. She has just one for me as well. You're both very valuable to the competition. You've done well so far.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, like, the same as, like, Jombers and Peppa. Like, we don't really want to see either of you go.
Right.
So, who's in your bottom and what happens?
So, I put Peppa and Jombers back in it, and then this time is when Jombers goes home.
Okay.
I say Jombers goes home. And keep in mind, this is Peppa's 3rd time lip syncing in a row. Oh, wait, I have to rethink that lip sync. Wait.
We have no idea what's going on anymore. Our brains are melting.
And
we are literally losing it. We are losing it. We need, like, diagram. We need, like, diagrams.
No, we need to plot.
I'm literally that, like, It's Always Sunny, like, with, like, the thing in the background.
We need a Venn diagram. Oh, the 2 circles, and I love the little part in the middle. I love a good Venn diagram. I know it was a double Shantae, but if I had to pick between the two, because they already had a double Shantae the week before for me, if I had to pick from the bottom 2, I'd say Johnbers won that lip sync.
He's right.
I don't know.
He's right.
And plus, in this universe, I have to consider, like, they both have a win. This is Peppa's 3rd time lip syncing in a row.
Peppa hasn't done super well since the first episode.
Yeah, so it's with a heavy heart to say that I think this is Peppa's time to go in my universe.
I just know these people are watching, like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
It's fine. We have the charts going.
We have the charts.
You get it. So,
anyways.
So, okay, we're both at top 5 now.
We are... Do I have 5? Yeah, we were both at 5.
Who's in your top 5?
So my top 5 now is not too different from the original. Danny... Actually, no, it is very different from the original. So my top 5 now is Danny, Copper, Dakota, and then Cheddar... I said Cheddar. Cheddar and Johnbers left.
Okay, and my top 5 is Dakota, Pixie, Danny, Cheddar, and Copper.
Okay, so we're not too far off.
We're not too far off, but we're far off from what actually happened.
Very much so.
So we have the roast. What would happen for you?
Okay, so Danny winning.
Obviously.
Yeah. And then Copper in the top. So
period. Copper
has no wins for me, mind you, but she still did well enough for me.
She Johnbird the competition.
No, because she never lip synced so far for me.
Copper never... My agenda, I hope you know, this man thought I was crazy, and now the agenda has...
Okay, mind you, I did put Copper in the bottom 3 twice. But I have never had her lip syncing.
I mean, it makes sense in my fantasy, so...
And then Johnbers is still here in this universe, and Johnbers did well. That roast.
She did.
So she's on the top as well. So I have Dakota and Cheddar lip syncing. Dakota goes home.
You don't think Dakota would do well?
In the previous comedy challenges, I said Dakota had some good ideas that were very passable, could have put her in the top a couple of times. But now that we're down to the top 5, especially considering Danny's still here, Copper is still here, and Johnbers, seeing how her and Danny did in the roast, and Cheddar obviously didn't do well. I don't think Dakota would bring any material that's as good as Danny or Johnbers brought.
That's fair. Okay, so what I have I have so many notes that are now completely wrong. Color coded.
Completely scratched out, mind you.
So Danny wins, Copper's in the top, and then I have Pixie, who didn't do well, Dakota, and Cheddar. So I think Pixie's in the bottom regardless. For me now it's just like, okay, could Dakota do better than Cheddar? Mm-hmm. I think that Cheddar would do better. So we have Dakota and Pixie in the bottom to Another One Bites the Dust.
Yeah.
And Pixie gave up.
Pixie fell, and then she gave up.
But Another One Bites the Dust kind of gives you the energy of the No Way, where it's like, can't be fun. Dakota can do fun stuff to it. So, like, if Pixie is, like, trying, I think Pixie could win, but she's not.
Okay.
So I think Dakota...
stays.
See, in my original thing, Dakota was nowhere near this. She was gone.
No.
But now she's in my finale.
Yeah. So do we have the same top 4?
Copper, Dakota, you have Johnbers.
Oh, fuck, I do, don't I?
I have Copper, Dakota, Cheddar, and Danny.
Oh, yeah, and then I have Copper, Cheddar, Danny, and Johnbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, who do you think would be in the top 2?
Okay, so I was okay, so yeah, Danny and Cheddar top 2. Because in my universe, they still have the 2 best track records. They don't have 4 wins each, but they both, I think, have 2 wins each, and neither of them lip sync for the life, except in the last episode for Cheddar.
Okay.
And then Jonbers and Copper. Copper doesn't have a win.
Danny did lip sync.
In my universe?
You made her lip sync in the design.
Fuck. I need to... Yeah, no, like, this is all chicken scratch. I cannot, like, and I changed it while filming.
This is so wild. Your top 2 is Danny and Cheddar.
My top 2 is Danny and Cheddar, correct.
My top 2 is Danny and Copper.
Okay, but Copper won a challenge for you.
Copper won a challenge.
And never was in the bottom.
Never in the bottom.
Okay, absolutely.
So...
But it's...
Danny wins.
Danny's still winning.
Danny still wins.
Yeah.
Like, Danny wins regardless.
Danny curb stomped...
Everyone.
Like, not like a curb stomp like level Vivian curb stomped everybody, but Danny, like...
Well, I would say that she did, because even 2 of Cheddar's wins, the makeover and the acting one, I think could have gone to Danny.
Uh-huh.
Like, the acting,
true, yeah.
acting one, I would say Danny fully did deserve to win. The makeover, I think it's 50-50, and it's just preference at that point. So I think Danny could have feasibly won, like, 6 challenges.
Absolutely, yeah. She was insanely
Out of
talented
9.
through the entire season.
So...
Yeah. But Danny, I was, in the original season, Team Cheddar, because I thought Cheddar just, like, handled the competition with such, like, humility and grace, and I loved her to death. But Danny just... really a rightful winner. Very well deserved.
So good. Showed us exactly, like, her heart, who she is. Like, she bared it all for us.
In any universe, Danny wins, I think.
Yeah. I think that's, like, the Doctor Strange, like, in 6 billion things, Danny wins in all but 1.
Yeah. Literally. And in the other one, Cheddar got hit by a meteor. Or, sorry. And the other one, Danny got hit by a meteor.
Yes. Yes. In conclusion, this went off the rails, but...
in more ways than one.
Yeah. But in the comments, who do you think has the more accurate track record, season, whatever? I
think you're setting me up to fail. Eventually, I'm planning on starting my YouTube channel here soon, where I will talk all things Drag Race. I plan to have my first video up either by the end of this year or the end of January 2023.
They're going to say the end of 2023. That's quite a large gap.
But yes, so I am currently working on my first video, and I do plan on launching that YouTube channel soon. So if you are interested in the content that I make, if you follow my TikTok, or you liked what Derek and I talked about today and like what I had to say, please consider subscribing. If you don't want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, my TikTok is always there.
Well, and your YouTube is up, so I can put the YouTube in the description, so you can kind of subscribe a little early.
What is it? Subscribe and ring the bell?
Hey, yes, ring that bell. I never say that, but yes. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
It's fun having someone in the Midwest with me, because like
because it's literally just
Jack
us.
And like everyone Niru is all in like the West Coast. And
yeah,
the
We Are Pressed peoples and
yeah, we're just like chilling in the bumfuck Ohio. Like, but thank you for coming on the channel.
Absolutely.
I would love to have you back at some point.
Of course.
And make sure you follow Matthew, because he will be dropping lots of content for you shortly. And thank you for watching today's video. It's kind of a different vibe, but I thought it'd be kind of fun. So let me know what you think. Tell us in the comments who had the best track record. And next time you guys complain that I'm fucked up in the head with what I do, guess what this bitch did. Yeah, exactly. So
I swear to God, my opinions on TikTok are usually accurate.
Yes, I will say that. So thank you guys so much for watching. The links to all my social medias will be right here, as well as Matthew's in the description of this video. And I'll catch you all in the next one.
Ciao.